Honorable members, in terms of the rules, I see the amendment as moved by the Democratic Alliance, and may I draw your attention to the Rule 121, Sub-Rule 1, that a member may propose an amendment in writing to a draft resolution if the amendment does not extend the scope of the draft resolution. I've seen the signed copy, and the amendment that is proposed do not extend the scope of the original. In fact, it removes one or two specific words in terms of the resolution that is there. In terms of the rules, I will thus put the amendment first to the House, and I will allow declarations. Yes, Honourable Member.
Chairperson, may I respectfully disagree that the content and form in terms of the rules of the proposed changes the original motion fundamentally. If you've particularly taken into consideration that an ad hoc committee in terms of the rules deals with a specific issue. The rules are very clear that an ad hoc committee must be seized with a specific issue, and that's a direct quote. To then shift and say that the matter must be taken to the portfolio committee, it is already there. But the portfolio committee is not seized with a specific issue. It is seized with different entities, with different issues. The very wisdom of the existence of the regime of ad hoc committees is in instances where we elevate a matter that it has to be dealt with on its own merits as a specific issue. So the proposal cannot stand in the House. It is a fundamental amendment of the motion. It must be taken back to wherever it came from.
Well, members, in terms of the rules, there is an amendment that is being proposed. I want to allow political parties the opportunity to make declarations in terms of the amendment that is being proposed. And then thereafter, I will put the amendment to the House, and the House must decide whether they support the amendment or not. And after that, I will revert, based on the outcome of that, I will revert back to the original resolution as it has been tabled. I now invite political parties wishing to make a declaration the opportunity to do so. The Democratic Alliance.
Thank you so much, Chair. I think, Chair, it's very important for us to understand that we've got portfolio committees that are established in Parliament for the very same responsibility of playing oversight, particularly in issues that affect South Africans. This is a massive issue of extortion that is ravaging our communities, whether you're in rural, township, and urban areas in South Africa. And ultimately, many people have been killed because of this particular issue. Now, it's important for us that when we play an oversight responsibility in Parliament, we make sure that our portfolio committees are being effective. And an issue of extortion in itself, an issue of extortion in itself being debated or put on the full agenda of the police portfolio committee is where it should be. It shouldn't be that we establish an ad hoc committee for this particular issue. It is of a serious nature, and therefore that is why it needs to be prioritized. But the responsibility of the portfolio committee on police to take ownership and responsibility in driving this particular issue, holding those that need to be held accountable, and making a necessary intervention must not be taken away from that. So it's important for us, Chair, to consider that, and that is why we put the amendment that we remove, as proposed there, paragraph 9, and replace those words that we indicated that instead of an ad hoc committee, let it go to the portfolio committee on police, where they can play an oversight responsibility, and delete 9E there. Thank you so much, Chair.
There's a request, and I want the political parties to receive the proposed amendment so that when they make their declarations, they are informed by the amendment that has been put forward. The MK Party.
Thanks, Honorable Chair.
I recognize your chief whip.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, this amendment is rejected for a simple reason. This amendment defies the objective of what this resolution seeks to do. The resolution seeks to bring focus. That's what this resolution wants to do. The portfolio committee mandate is broad. It allows a whole manner of discussions. This amendment, what it does, in fact, it's actually quite a shame that such a serious thing that we are saying, or that the EFF is saying, must be focused on because it's ravaging the country. Now, to have any person saying they are a public representative that wants to dilute this thing into a myriad of other activities that are happening in these other portfolio committees is really quite absurd, Chairperson. And therefore, as the MK party, we are standing with the resolution as it stands because we take the issue of extortions very seriously and we think it must be a focus. We want a laser approach on this thing. We don't want some general dealer stuff here. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. The EFF.
Thank you, Chairperson. The central logic of the whole motion is really to say there is a crisis of extortion in the country, and we have a duty to intervene as Parliament. And therefore, it will be irresponsible of anyone to say the matter must be referred to the committee when we know how busy that committee is. And we want a focused ad hoc committee that is going to deal with this matter. We said to the executive, when the minister was spoke on this matter, that it will not be business as usual. Now, the DA comes, the DA that governs a province where this problem of extortion is too high, comes and says, no, let's do business as usual. But and what is even worse, extortion the pensioner, the recipient that is social grant, I go to construction sites. It has become a pandemic, and therefore Parliament cannot want to continue as if things are normal. We are pleading with all political parties to put their colors aside. What is even worse with this extortion? But when you have a funeral, they say, no, for sure the policy has paid. Therefore, you must pay a certain percentage to those people who are extorting our people in the townships. We reject the DA and we reject this amendment of the DA. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Member. The IFP.
Thank you, Chairperson. Chairperson, the IFP feel that the prevalent challenges fall within the scope of the capable portfolio committee of police, and therefore we do not support the motion as proposed by the recent speaker. Thank you.
Thank you. Patriotic Alliance.
Thank you very much, House Chairperson. I think as we have discussed this matter on Friday in the mini plenary, that we do have confidence in the portfolio committee. Given that the situation is being prioritized, the chairperson of the committee has also highlighted key issues that have been not looked at. So if we can allow them the time to do the work that is necessary, then we shall support that the amendment that the DA put forth will stand, and we will support that it remains in the committee. Thank you.
Thank you. Freedom Front Plus.
Thank you, Honourable Chairperson. I'm not sure that we should now entertain the substance of what is on the table. I think we should rather sustain the technical process in terms of the rules. The idea of the resolution was to create an ad hoc committee. And you're right when you say the amendment does not extend the scope. But the problem is that the amendment changes the total purpose of the original resolution. We can argue about the contents of the resolution, and if people feel that it should rather be in the portfolio committee for police, that may be so. But then the right process would be to vote against the resolution, not allow it to go through, and then it can be taken to the portfolio committee. But with all due respect, to allow the amendment now changes the substance of the resolution, and I think that cannot be in order. Thank you.
The Action SA.
Thank you, House Chair. There are certain things that defy logic. From where we are sitting, We do not support the amendment to the resolution. We support the draft resolution as it stands. Thank you.
ACDP,
Thank you, House Chair. House Chair, we appreciate the motion from the Honourable Malema and that there is a crisis of extortion, but we would urge that the Portfolio Committee prioritizes this issue. So we would support the amendment. I thank you.
the UDM, Rise Ndlonzi,
Chairperson, thanks very much. So the portfolio committees comprises members of this house. All of us ought to be busy. In the portfolio committee, members, there's a member of the EFF, there are 2 members of MK, there are 4 members of the ANC, there's 1 member of RISE. What the ad hoc committee is proposed in its composition is the same same numbers as they exist in the committee. So now, if the EFF says we do not have confidence in the member that serves in the committee to execute her job, then it must say so. Because all of us are members in that committee. The committee has just been
Point of
established.
order. Point of
Honorable Ghana, will you just take your
Thanks, House
seat,
Chair.
please? Take your seat, please. Why are you rising, honorable member?
Rising on a point of order to request that in terms of the rules, Chair, you rule Honorable Ghana to be irrelevant. We are
No,
debating
there's
the
no such
technicality of whether the amendment suits the rules or not,
No.
not the composition of the second
So
motion.
thank you, honorable member. It's
It's
not
out
a
of
point
order, it's irrelevant. It's a point of relevance.
Not a point of order. Please continue, honorable member.
What is irrelevant is what has just been said. Because there are members in the committee that represent political parties. And what we are saying, so instead of saying we reject the motion, we say we want this matter to be in the portfolio committee because it's so serious. The portfolio committee has just been established. So we reject the original motion and we support this amendment. That's what we are saying, because there's a member of the EFF in that committee. Whatever issue that she needs to raise, she will raise it in that committee. That's why we reject the original motion and support the amendment. Thanks very much, Chair.
On a point of order, Chair.
Honorable
On a
Malema.
point of, yes. Will pardon the member who just spoke now because he just arrived, Chair. He will know that there is a difference
Order,
between
honorable
ad hoc
members. I can't
committee
hear the honorable Malema.
and the standing committee. There is a difference. So even if we're all busy as members of parliament, when you are assigned to an ad hoc committee, you get released by your party from other responsibilities to focus on that. But we accept that he just paid his bus fare to
Thank
here.
you. Thank you, honorable member. Osa?
Thank you, Chair. The issue on the table is about the amendments, and as Bildwan is saying, we oppose the amendments as set up.
ATM?
Thank you, Chair. Chair, the issue of extortion is not a new thing in our country. It is something that has been prevalent for the longest time. And the Committee on Police has been seized with it, but without any tangible results. So we as the ATM are saying that let us stick to the original motion so that we get a specific committee that will deal specifically with the issue. This is not about the numbers, but it is about the substance of the focus of the ad hoc committee. Thank you.
Thank you. The Al Jamaa Party?
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Honorable Chair, this is not an easy solution because we know that extortion and the situation is dire in our country at this stage. But currently we have got a portfolio committee on police with members of several political parties, which I would believe we would trust to do the oversight and their job. What we are asking now is, do we follow the amendment and let the portfolio committee on police take on this mandate, or do we go with the initial resolution? But we are already overstretched. It's easy to say, release members from the political party that they don't do certain work, as I heard the Honorable Julius Malema indicate. But that is not always a possibility in your smaller parties. And that is our reality. At this point, I'm going to support that the Portfolio Committee of Police continue to fulfill their role on oversight. I thank you.
Thank you. The NCC.
Thank you, Chair. Chairperson, I serve on this committee, and extortion is rife where I live and where I work. We must accept this motion in the spirit that it is brought. It is brought, Chair, to bring a focus on extortion. That's all. We must be honest with ourselves and say that in the city of Cape Town, the DA has so much to hide that they would be against this motion, and today's arrest will prove it.
The PAC. Order, honorable members. Order. The PAC. Honorable members. Honorable members. The UAT.
Thank you, Chairperson.
Order, honorable members.
There's a battle here.
Honorable members, I want to listen to the member of the UAT. Please do not distract him. No.
Kanimambo, Chair. I have to report that 4 police officials just been arrested in the last hour in Durban, involvement in extortion now. So this matter is urgent, and the public is looking at us in our reaction. So we support the original draft. Thank you.
Good. Is there a declaration from Good? The ANC?
Thank you, House Chair. As the ANC, we start by reiterating that a call for Parliament to investigate the crime of extortion can only be welcomed if we appreciate that the Portfolio Committee on Police is better placed to look into the matters of extortion and make a determination on what is the next course of action. The proposed amendment by the DA agrees with our position, and we would support it. House Chair, in our debate on the motion, we emphasize the efforts that government is taking to fight the crime of extortion and crime in general, such as strengthening the coordination of the work of the Justice, Crime Prevention and Security Cluster to fight crime. On the day of the debate, House Chair, the JCPS cluster of Cabinet was meeting to look into the matter of strengthening their coordination and collaboration. We also note that government has made interventions to strengthen the intelligence community to ensure our fight against crime is strengthened through intelligence-driven interventions. We also note the collaboration agreements that are undertaken by government through the police department to ensure the working relationship between the police and the Metro Police to fight crime. These initiatives are to be rolled out to provinces in our country. These measures, therefore, say to us, we will be inconsistent with the facts if we argue that the state is failing to deal with crime. The facts are pointing that the state is doing its effort to deal with crime. Therefore, House Chair, oversight by the PC on police will further strengthen these actions. I thank you.
Thank you, honorable member. Honorable members. Yes, honorable Ndlonzi.
House Chair, I ask you to rule in terms of Rule 121, subsection 2, in relation to this amendment. The rule says when amendment is moved as provided in sub-rule 1, a signed copy of the proposed amendment must be delivered to the secretary at the table without delay. I submit to the House Chair that this amendment was an ambush, not done in keeping with parliamentary decorum and specifically this particular rule. And it came at this hour to cause confusion in our country on a very important matter. It seeks to place a blanket and conceal a serious matter here, particularly in the Western Cape and Cape Town. You must rule it out of order, Chair, in terms of the rules. You are empowered as the chairperson to reject this amendment because it came without complying with 121 sub 2.
Thank you.
It was an ambush and it's not parliamentary.
Honorable members,
On a point of order, Chair.
Yes, Honorable Malema, before you continue, I must indicate that I received the amendment when the member moved it. It was checked by the secretary or the secretary available in the House, and the amendment was then subsequently, not resolutions, the there were declarations made by the different political parties on it. So the amendment to that motion is in front of us. Honorable Malema?
No, on a point of order, Chair. We were ambushed with the motion. We were given the motion while the person who's proposing the amendment to the motion was already speaking to the amendment of the motion. And the rule just simply says you can't, in its spirit, it says you cannot ambush people and expect us to make substantive inputs on something that is just presented before us here. But on a different point, Chair, the amendment seeks to change the whole resolution. What is the point of having a debate on something? We are saying ad hoc committee. And the simple way is to go to the motion and then defeat it, not to introduce something that fundamentally changes the possible resolution on the motion that is presented before the House. We must not allow that degeneration. We must be very clear that it cannot be correct to amend and change the possible resolution of a motion presented before the House. The ANC, we understand where they come from. There is a huge allegation in KZN that the ANC is a beneficiary of extortion.
You have made your point. Honorable members, as a member of who attend the Chief Whips Forum regularly, and other members, and maybe it's something that we need to emphasize as well between the different political parties, is that whether you agree or not on something, is that you use the mechanisms inside that forum to talk to one another and discuss things with one another. So you did speak to them, Honorable Ndlonzi. You did speak to them. So there was a matter, some consultation or discussion taking place. Now you see, now that means that the amendment that's in front of us must now be decided upon. I wanted to say, before you, Honorable Mente, and those members who have been here from the 6th Parliament will agree, that it's always collegial to inform one another that this is what is, but you said now you discussed it with them. So if you discussed it, that you will inform them. So whatever discussion took place there, whether you agreed with it or not, we expect as the presiding officers that collegiality is there, that you discuss things with one another, so that when it comes to the House, that everybody is on the same page. We don't want anybody to be ambushed. That is not the idea. But since you, Honorable Ndlonzi, indicated that you did speak to them, then it means that there were discussions amongst you. Honorable Ndlonzi?
No, House Chair, with respect, this is a classic case of sabotage, more than ambush. The honorable members of the DA never consulted anyone. They never consulted anyone. They brought this motion, read it, spoke to it, then you gave us the copies after. The motion that was consulted upon is the original motion, of which they had no view on. They never got back to us. So I'm saying to you, we even asked, do you want to make amendments? Because we were passionate about this matter being raised above political party colors. There was no consultation. It's a classic case of sabotage. And it must be rejected with respect, Honorable Chair. Please rule in the interest of the rules of the House, in the interest of the decorum. If you rule in favor of this motion, you are rendering Parliament useless. It's a circus. It means we can just come and play cards over serious matters of our people. We should have applied our minds.
Thank you, Honorable
to
Ndlonzi.
this motion.
Honorable members,
amendment. Thank you very much.
Honorable members, I've consulted with the table staff here, and it is my inclination that I will allow the decision on the amendment to stand over, to allow for consultation, proper consultation between the political parties, and we will bring it back to the House tomorrow immediately after the question session. Thank you.
Thank you for watching the video. Please like, share, comment, and also subscribe. Press that notification bell button so that you can be notified for future videos.